This is what we're going to do. We're going to call in to someone that you may know from his days in the Major League Baseball. He was also a multiple Ironman athlete. And if you're on social media, you got to jump over and follow this guy's account. His name, Eric Byrnes. He's doing some fun stuff. And wait till you see the energy level tick up a couple dozen notches here. Eric, how are you, brother? It's great to see you.
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on, guys. This is fantastic, by the way. I could totally get consumed and locked into this all day. Obviously, all these uh super incredible athletes getting after it and just making the most of the situation is super really cool that you guys are doing this.
That's great. Now, how are things? Tell us, how are things where you are, and how have you adapted your training given the current environment of COVID?
Things are kind of wild. I mean, obviously, I'm up in Truckee, California, so it's one of those travel destinations, and it's been a little bit of a hot spot. So pretty much have been locked in the house for I think it's 50 days now. As far as me, like I don't know, most of the people probably watching this have no idea about my story or even why I am on here at this point. But I used to play Major League Baseball, and then I got into doing. I did my first sprint triathlon, almost drowned in the water. Was getting my butt kicked on the bike. I actually rode a beach cruiser in my first triathlon, and I thought like it wasn't like to be cool or anything. It was like I legitimately thought, oh yeah, this is a bike that's gonna, you know, get me from point A to point B quick. It's all I knew. Ran a couple miles, fell in love with the sport, and ended up 11 months later did my first Ironman, and then within like a 7 year period ended up doing I think it was 11, 12 Ironmans, and then kind of transitioned a little bit into ultra running and did a triathlon across America that they made a documentary about that actually just came out. It was all about the Let Them Play Foundation, something my wife and I had created about kids, youth activity, getting them active. Obviously, I grew up full blown ADHD, and so having activity in my life is gigantic. And so, this whole training mechanism has allowed me to function. It's not only just now, but going all the way back to when I was a kid. So basically, since this whole thing started, I got on the treadmill, and I was doing like 15 miles a day, and I started thinking about it a little bit. I'm like, man, I said, if I'm doing 15 a day, I said, this whole COVID-19 thing, I feel like the 19's beating me. And so I might as well bump it up to 20. And then that's when the streak started. This was, over 50 days ago. And so I've been averaging, I think it's like 22 miles a day. It's been a journey. It's been fun. Started to do a couple outside runs now with some neighbors, the 6 feet apart thing. And it's nice just to try to get back into the swing of things.
Wow, Eric, that's great. You answered so much and delivered a lot. I love how you just kind of tickled a little bit of the triathlon across America. It's a big deal. You raise money for Let Them Play. Talk to us a quick bit about that. I think that's amazing, and we can't just gloss over that.
Yeah, well, you know what happened is we were trying to put our kids into school, and we figured out that 97% of public schools no longer have everyday PE. And then look further in the numbers, and it's 60% of kids do zero after school youth activity. And then kids are spending 7 to 9 hours a day on screens. And the numbers bother us a little bit. So now we have the means, we're very fortunate to have the means to put our kids into private school where they do have everyday PE. Our kids, up in Tahoe, they're on the ski team. My kid plays baseball. The other one does gymnastics. And so it's like they're super active, but we have the means to put them in position to be able to be active. Well, it's so easy now to take $100 screen and give it to a kid and just say, go away. And so it's actually it's a socioeconomic issue as well. And so I have this really kind of unique background between baseball and the ultra endurance world. And we decided, look, let's start this foundation and work with Major League Baseball teams and minor league baseball teams across the country. And really, it was like we came up with this thing. It was swim the San Francisco Bay, which was 7 miles, bike from Oakland to Chicago, which was 2,400 miles, and then run from Chicago to New York City was 905 miles. And we were doing 100 to 150 on the bike a day and running 30 to 40 a day. But basically, we stopped at all these different spots starting in Stockton, Salt Lake City, Chicago. There was 11 stops along the way. Toledo, Cleveland, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh. Anyhow, when we ended up in New York City, but we were able to raise money along the way, and then hand out these grants. But it's, I think everyone who's in this endurance community, I think the most important thing for all of us is just continue to lead by example, because the coolest thing I think out of all this, I have 3 kids, 8, 9, 10-year-old downstairs. And when they see us get up and get moving and get charging, it actually motivates them to do the same thing. And now it was actually my 10-year-old, she just turned 11. But every single morning, it's just talk about like the proud papa, right? Every single morning, especially when I've been doing the COVID-19 or COVID-20 runs, right? Where I'm doing over 20 miles, she'll come in. And the rule to them, as I said, treadmill's always open for any of you guys. Whenever you guys want to come and get your miles in, let's go. And so every single morning at like 7:30 in the morning, it's clockwork. She comes, kicks me off the treadmill, knocks out a mile, runs at like 8 miles per hour. And then that jump starts her day.
Oh,
that's
Eric,
great.
that's so great. Now, you mentioned your documentary, it just came out. Tell our Facebook fans where they can watch that.
It's at letthemplayfilm.com. And the greatest thing I could say about it is that it brings to light a problem, an epidemic that has been going on with youth inactivity. And we have doctors, we have scientists, we have people, we have a school in Pagosa Springs, Colorado, that we did this whole segment on, that basically implemented 0 period PE, where for just like 15, 20 minutes before school starts, one of their teachers dresses up in a Captain America outfit, and he gets on top of the roof. It's just like jumping jacks, hey, spin around, this stupid stuff, right? But what that does is it activates the brain. And then the other thing they implemented in-class movement. So every 17 minutes, when we sit down, our brains go to sleep. And so always, no matter what, like if you guys are sitting down calling this today, and I work in broadcasting as well, so I know that like if I'm at MLB Network and I'm doing my thing or whatever, we're on the air for 3 hours at a time, every single commercial break, which is about every 17 minutes, boom, I'm up. Full of dopamine jumps, whatever it is, because that's constant stimulation of the mind. And so the documentary just does an awesome job, obviously following the journey across the country, which if you know my family at all, we're basically the Griswolds going across the country trying to triathlon. So it was a little bit of an S show, which I think was, made it beautiful. But overall, it was all about the money we were able to raise, hand out, and obviously, I think the biggest thing in all of this, beyond even the dollars and cents, is bringing awareness that this is an issue and we have to do something about it.
Very good, Eric. Very good. We sure appreciate you. You are doing amazing stuff, folks. Check out what he's doing. Get over there, follow him on Instagram. Watch that quarantine baseball every day. I check that out. It's pretty awesome. And thanks for being on our show. Thanks for providing energy, inspiration. And I just did 5 jumps, so thanks for that as well, my friend.
I love it. Yeah, and as far as the crew just charging right now, I mean these watts that are being fired out. This is fantastically awesome. So I'm gonna tune into this and dial in, because look, it's Teddy Roosevelt says, do what you can with what you have where you are, right? And I think that's the key for all of us moving forward here, is just continue to charge on and make the most of it. And obviously you guys are doing that.
Nice. Thank you so much. You have a great day, and we will keep watching these watts fire. Take care and keep doing what you're doing.
Thanks for having me on, guys.